to your mouth.
I will. It's nice to see everybody tonight. Thank you for having me. As was mentioned earlier, this has been an interesting day for me. It's been a while since I've been back to Santa Cruz. Interesting fact about myself, before I was at Santa Cruz, I was at University of California, Riverside. And I know I looked the part. I played basketball there, and I transferred here because I was a basketball player turned nerd, and I really wanted to be closer to Silicon Valley. And so I transferred to Santa Cruz, and I'm really happy I did. It was an amazing experience, and it's really wonderful to be back. After graduating, I moved to San Francisco, where I lived through the dot-com craziness, and when it crashed, I moved to Seattle, went to the University of Washington for my master's, and never left. Most of my career has been as a co-founder of startups, but I did have a very short stint at Meta, where I worked on productivity tools for employees, which has led me to what I want to talk to you guys about today, which is the new company that I've started called Simply Augmented. And I want to talk about the way that we're thinking about AI for work. And I'm also a host of a podcast called Shift AI, where I talk to people about the future of work. And the work that we're doing at Simply Augmented is about thinking about how AI gets implemented with inside companies, not just for chat, but for real work. And one thing I'll say is that a lot of fear has been written in the media about people losing their jobs. And I really do think about people in the loop when I think about the way that this is going to show up for people at work, both at the beginning and at the end. And I'll talk more about that. But first, some big challenges. And there's ethical challenges and social challenges around bias, the loss of jobs. There's also challenges with the models themselves being accurate and hallucinating, and the predictability of understanding what's happening inside those models. And a lot of times with these closed source models, you don't see under the hood, and it's important to be able to understand what's going wrong. And so that's another big challenge and concern. And the last one is resource inequality. So we want to make sure, and there's been a lot of talk about regulation, we want to make sure that open source, small companies can take advantage of these models, and we don't want to over-regulate. So there's some fears around folks that don't have the resources not being able to take advantage of this amazing technology. But this is revolutionary. This really, really is powerful, powerful technology, and it's a new way of making software. It's not as predictable as the software we used to make, but it is very, very powerful, and it's replacing some of the ways that we do knowledge work. Some of the things that we should look forward to, especially since this big announcement that happened on Monday around, OpenAI had their developer conference. The first developer conference happened on Monday, and they announced some really interesting things about Chat GPT. One of those is we're all going to be able to make our own Chat GPTs. He called them little GPTs. So imagine a world with GPTs all over the place for everything that we do. So we're going to start to see chat interfaces all over the place. But what I want to stress is that the future may look a little bit different. And I think we're going to start to see personalization in a way that we've never seen before. That's one. And the second is that augmentation of our jobs is going to happen, and AI is going to become much more invisible than it is right now. It's not going to be chat so much that we are communicating with our computers. AI is going to be happening everywhere. We're going to show up to work and we'll see a dashboard and there'll be AI behind it. We're not going to have to talk to our computers for every single thing that we want to do. And when we think about this with companies, we think about workflows for real work. And I'm not going to go into all the details, but we sit down with companies and we say, what is the real value proposition that you're trying to execute on for your customers? And where can AI fit into that? And sometimes it's chat, and sometimes it's not. So I've got 3 examples I'll show you of some recent projects. One is a conversational AI for a tax expert. And what's interesting about it is that there is conversational AI where questions are being asked, and the LLM is answering those questions. But also the large language model is acting as a salesperson and being able to qualify those customers so that when the sales team actually gets a summary of those conversations, they are able to move and execute quickly. And it's a case where a small sales team can do a lot more than they typically were able to do. The other example is a large language model research assistant. And when I think about AI, I always think about AI as an intern, kind of a dim-witted intern, but an intern that works really, really hard and it never goes to sleep. And you really think about these research assistants as folks that can go out and find information for you. In this case, it's a sales team that's looking for nuggets in 3 years worth of podcasts. That team doesn't want to manually go into those podcasts and find those nuggets to share with prospects and emails. So we've built a system that allows you to go in, find exactly where those search terms are inside podcasts, deliver that back to that team so they can act really quickly and share those with prospects. And the last one is an AI resume scoring tool. And I love this one because there's no chat at all in this. There's no search terms. It's just a way for creating evidence-based, unbiased stack ranking of resumes against job descriptions. And the problem here is that 2,500 resumes are coming at them every single day. And they aren't able to handle that kind of inbound. And they aren't able to go back in time and match job descriptions to old resumes. And so this allows them to do, a small team, to do a lot more work than they're normally able to do. So I guess the theme for me is AI for real workflows. And for businesses, if there's any business owners here that are thinking about ways of implementing AI into their workflow, to think deeply about that whole entire process and then break it down into small chunks and do it slowly over time and find out where large language models can fit into those workflows. So it's wonderful to be back, and I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to this panel discussion. And thank you very much.